Hey y'all, I'm James Wright, and welcome to LeRoy and Susan's collection. We're gonna have fun looking around because this one is really cool. Let's dive in.
Hello, I'm LeRoy Witzle. Been a member of Midwest Tool Collectors probably for over 30 years. And it just has kind of grown here to collect different items, starting out with Stanley planes and woodworking tools, and gradually worked into farm-related things since I've always been a farmer. And I did get into the foot-powered machinery like you see right through here. The lion's share of this probably has been purchased through Ed Hobbs, and he has reconditioned a lot of this machinery.
Do you have a favorite foot-powered tool?
I would say the one that has generated the most interest when people come would be this. This is a Barnes ripsaw here. I've reconditioned it, and it seems like people are intrigued with how it works. Then also this router machine here is another one of my favorites. It's a Former number 2, and I do have all the proper Barnes bits that go with it as well. So I'd say those are probably my 2 favorites that I have. The most recent one is this one right up here. I think it was patented for about 2 years, 1878 to 80 or something like that, but it was all refurbished like that. And supposedly it's how it looked when it was new. My main collection over the years that I've been picking up are these fencing tools that you see here and over on the other side. Fencing was a very important part of our rural heritage. So it was amazing how many different tools were made to work with fencing. That is a little tool for sharpening disc blades. And there's some other disc blade sharpeners right around there that are kind of handheld sharpeners. That one over there is one I actually used when I was a teenager on our 15-foot John Deere disc. These are handcrafted blacksmith tools all along the bottom here. These are, of course, Cooper tools used in barrel making, and a lot of different kinds of tools were made for that trade. That's a general store piece that came out of an actual general store to hold axes. It's kind of a special deal. As I understand, some people are trying to reproduce it right now. These are shoemaking, shoe repair, and shoemaking tools. This is for making a shoe, which goes way back. Well, this is a collection of spill planes right on this shelf here. My wife seemed to think she had to pick one every time we'd go to a meeting, and most lion's share of these have been brought over from foreign countries, Tony Merlin and so forth.
Things that were, okay, I have spill vases. I like spill vases, and this is a match set.
Go on top of the fireplace.
Went on top of the fireplace, held the spills, because I collect spill planes, and so they told me I needed the spill vases to go with them. Well, this is a spill vase too. And the ones with the animals were supposed to be the ones that were highly valued.
But it's amazing how people could take these planes and turn them into making these little spills, which is the precursor to the matches. These items right here are kind of interesting. They call them wagon drags, put under the wheel so the wagon will not beat the wagon down, or roll down the hill and beat the horses.
So So the wheel would stop rolling?
Yeah, it'd be dragging then instead of rolling, so.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what this, that one are wagon drags. These back here go underneath to work the opposite way going up the hill. This here is an interesting tool right here. It doesn't have the original containers here, but it is a malted milk or shake maker. Turns around like that. These are very similar, but they're not the originals that really go with it.
And this is my wonderful acquisition that I made after George Wanamaker did a talk at the Midwest Tool meeting in Decatur, and he had a horizontal ice cream freezer. This one is very different because you put the ice and the salt inside the cylinder. You put the cream mixture for your ice cream here. Plug this up, turn it, and the ice cream freezes on the cylinder and drops into the container. So no salt in your ice cream.
Therefore, pattern making, I would say, they're all different sizes.
Those are just preset marking gauges?
Yeah, preset.
Like 1/8 inch apart?
Yeah. Well, over the years being a farmer, I guess I didn't have too much time to think about collecting antique tools, but about 50 years ago, my uncle needed this to stay in the family because it was my grandpa's brother's toolbox, and it's really how I got started collecting these tools. Once I could see what was in there, I started going to antique shops and looking around at this stuff, and lo and behold, the guy figured I was buying some of this and needed to be a member of Midwest Tool Collectors. So that's how I got started in the Midwest Tool Organization, which has been wonderful to Susan and I. We've met people from all over the country, and a lot of the tools in this building have come from different meetings across the country.
It has a hole in them because you wouldn't pack the ice cream so firmly, and the people would think they got just as much ice cream, and the store owner would make a profit. And he didn't have to raise his price. And these are penny licks. These came way before ice cream cones. And the vendor would be on the street, and the little kid would bring a penny. He'd have a little tiny scoop, I think about the size of a melon scoop. And he would put it in here, give it to the kid would lick it out, he'd bring it back, they'd swish it in the water and fill it for the next person. So this is a penny lick. This is a tuppenny lick, and you can see with an optical illusion that you'd think you were getting a lot more ice cream. And this is a threepenny lick. And these are all from England. They were outlawed in the United States. Well, they were outlawed in both places, but somehow they seem to stay alive. This is my newest ice cream purchase, and this is called a polar pack, and it's for you making ice cream sandwiches. So that's a square.
Rectangle of it.
Yeah. Here's a hearing aid, and actually it pretty much works. This came from the Sears catalog, 1906. Here's a wonderful little invention. This is a medicine cup, or a medicine spoon. And you would put the medicine into the gradations there, however much you had. And then you would put the clock to when the next dose would be. Oh. This is part of my pearl button collection. And the reason I started that was I saw this strange implement in an antique store and couldn't figure out why it was not closing. And it was to hold the the clamshells while they drilled the buttons out. And I used to go sit on the banks of the Mississippi River in Fort Madison, and I'd ask my dad what animal made the holes in the shells. He said it was a button factory. And this is a Bethlehem button. There's a family in Bethlehem that carves those buttons. This is one of the things I wanted for a long time. We belong to Kooks, and the Kooks are collectors of old kitchen stuff. And so we got unusual kitchen things. And this is a propeller spoon. It was manufactured, it's patented, only manufactured 1 year, because of course the minute you dipped into your batter, the propellers wouldn't go anymore. They got stuck in the batter.
So what was it intended to do?
Add more air to your cake so they'd be lighter and fluffier. But of course, that really didn't work too well. Well, I grew up in Fort Madison, Iowa, and I lived in a home that I can see in this 1888 lithograph. It's right across the street from this factory. And I looked at that lithograph and I thought, what in the world was that? And it's the Morrison Plow Company in Fort Madison. Well, the Schaefer Pen Company was built there when I lived in Fort Madison in the 60s and when I grew up there. But I was living in a home that my great-great-grandparents had lived in. And so I said, I want a Morrison plow. And LeRoy found one for me. What I was supposed to be able to decorate. I could decorate the bathroom. That was all the space LeRoy was going to give to me. So I have many collections. And here's stretchers for socks, for mittens, and lingerie, washboards. And these are the personal washboards that the ladies would take with them when they traveled, because they would do just the collars and the cuffs of their clothing. That would get dirty, and then they would have to wash that. And then the hangers, some of these are even for bustles. Like this one here, it had a attachment for a bustle. And there are several other kinds and all sorts of clothespins, some character clothespins. The clothesline up above, the wire one, you don't use clothespins. You tuck your clothing into the wires, like this shirt over here,
Twisted.
like the shirt, and it would not come out. Evidently, if you put sheets on those lines, the harder the wind blew, the tighter it was, and you never had to go hunting for a sheet off the line.
So there you have it. I want to say a huge thank you for letting me come and take a look at this. This is absolutely fantastic, and I've had a blast here. So thank you for that. And if any of you have any questions or would like to ask that, throw it down in the comments down below, and we'll be taking a look through that. And I do want to say a thank you to everyone on Patreon, everyone scrolling over here on the side. Thank you. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to travel around and do some of these. And I do want to say a huge thank you for letting me into your house. This has been fantastic.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
So until next time, have a wonderful day. I have to tell you, your collection upstairs, and specifically your collection, just really, really sang to me. I mean, it made me want to, well, I scream.
Oh, yes. There you go.